I would begin, you see, with the assumption that every person, every sentient being whatsoever, is I. I is simply the universe aware of itself at a particular place and time. William James once said the word I is a noun of position, like this or here. And so the feeling that we call I is how everything feels on the inside. But it is always in a particular place at a particular time. And these particular places and particular times, they keep going on and on and on and on and on. Myriads of them, all over. Not only on this globe, but probably in worlds scattered throughout the whole cosmos, the I feeling arises. And you feel that you are I just as much as I feel that I am I. And your I feeling and my I feeling are essentially the same. Only we're looking from different places. But it's all one I. Only we don't see this because we are hung up on the coming and going of I, on the particular circumstances in which every I appears. And so, just as the flame changes its physical identity every second, every split second, every microsecond, so do you. You're a stream. And so, taking us all together, supposing you watched the human race from a very different point of view, you were watching us, you didn't know anything about human beings, never seen them before, and you were observing what's going on in this planet from some other point of culture in space and time, and you would say, well, this world is peopling, this planet peoples, just like a tree bears fruit. And year after year, the apples that come off an apple tree all look very, very much the same. And you would say, yeah, the apples come and go, but they're always the same apples coming back. It's only if you look very minutely at the apples and studied the details of coloration and formation that you would say that one apple was different from another. Now, we're all so used to each other, and we know each other so well that we see and emphasize the differences between us. But somebody who knew nothing about humanity would see the coming and going of human beings as a repetition of the same process. Just as the flame burning, we say it's a flame, but it's a repetition of the same process. It keeps on flaming. Cha, 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 cha. You see? Now, if you're going to count each cha as a distinct and separate event, then you cannot hear cha, 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 the rhythm. So because of our myopia, because our point of view is fascinated by the details and the differentiations between everything that's going on, the differentiations between people, the differentiations between generations, we are so preoccupied with that particular view of things that we're hung up on it. And we don't see that it's the same thing happening again and again and again. And that every I that comes into this world is you. Now, you don't have to have any inside information to understand that. It doesn't require any sort of esoteric, spooky knowledge, something that can't be demonstrated. It's just looking at things the way they are, standing right out in the open and facing you. All eyes are I, wherever soever scattered, because you see, this is the place. At the point called here and now, this universe knows itself on the inside. You look around you, and you see everything, as it were, presenting an exterior to you. Supposing I want to delve into another person, how am I going to do that? Well, there are many ways. I can talk to them. I can get them to express their inmost thoughts and their feelings. I can make love to another person and exchange a very fundamental sort of electrochemical union. I can take a knife and, like a surgeon, go in and analyze. But my relationship to the other is always seeing life on the outside. However much I get down to the tiniest cells that constitute your nervous system, I'm still looking at that cell from the outside. If I go down into the molecules, I go down into the atoms, I'm still regarding them from the outside. The only point at which I know the thing on the inside is where I am. Then I have inside knowledge of what everywhere else appears to be outside. So if you want to know what all this is, that's why mystics say you have to look within. So they talk about the inner life within yourself and so on. Because that's the point at which you know what it's like on the inside. And so to realize inside, there must, of course, at the same time be outside. To realize self, there must be the counterbalance of other. Because it's like black and white, it's like back and front. They're inseparable. So then, this is where we start from. That every being coming into this world is I, and they keep on coming. Doesn't matter how long the intervals are between their appearances. Supposing this planet were completely wiped out by a cobalt bomb explosion, that would be the end of this race, in just the same way as, say, a group of insects will eat their food supply up on a plant, and the whole population will perish. Happens again and again. And so, in all probability, throughout this galaxy and throughout other galaxies, there are human or comparable populations that arise and go, just as we do individually. So don't get too worried about the thought that this whole human system on this planet may go away and disappear. Because if you get too worried about it, it's going to happen faster than if you don't worry about it. Because of the attraction of a vertigo, the feeling of wanting to throw yourself over the precipice even though you know it'll destroy you. But it seems perfectly reasonable to suppose, in other words, that there is a constant rhythm of what we call consciousness, being awake to life, going on and on, just as stars go on and on. If the stars are going on all over the place, if galaxies are going on all over the place, it's equally reasonable to suppose that life is going on all over the place. And although the distances from our particular point of view between these islands of life may be vast, don't forget that the distances between the molecules in your own body are equally vast on their scale. You could go down and blow up the inside of your own head so that the various elements would be hundreds of miles away from each other, and yet somehow or other they hang together. Don't be deceived, because distance, space, isn't just removal. Space isn't just nothing. This is the grand delusion.